Hello, welcome to my channel. It's Mini Mani. I hope y'all doing wonderful today. So today I am reacting to this ABBA and Preach video. Ain't nothing to it but to do it. Let's get it.
I'm a little bit older, so perhaps I have a different perspective. I've been married 21 years.
You've been through some very difficult times, I'm assuming, in your marriage.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You
And
you have
coming
to
out of
work
that,
and fight for your marriage if you want
and
it.
coming out of that, wasn't that the portion that made you love your partner the most? How do you?
Absolutely. Let me just share this because I know a lot of people who want to have a relationship and connect. The four things that kill a relationship, people never talk about.
Go for it.
And those things are criticism. When you constantly criticize your partner, you're going to kill your relationship. That's number one. Number two, contempt. When you get to a place of contempt for your partner, that's a sign that your relationship is going to fail. Number three, when you are defensive, you are constantly, your partner can't point something out to you in a loving way, just even sometimes it's hard. But if you're constantly defensive and it's like a moving target, nobody can get to you, that's a sign. And the last one is how can I say this? It's like stonewalling, right? It's like that drawbridge goes up, and it's like no, no,
Yeah. Can I
no.
ask you?
Go
Can I ask you something? Can I ask you
ahead,
something?
bro. Go ahead, bro.
Wouldn't you say that all those things are choices?
All of those things are choices, and you have to accept the responsibility, right? That you are responsible for your behavior. That's the thing. It's not about, you can feel how you want to. And maybe you need to process and work through your feelings, right? To understand why you feel the way that you do. But irrespective of that, you're still responsible for your behavior. You're responsible for the things that you say.
Alright, so I was very excited to do a reaction on this video because I have been having a lot of conversations about relationships, marriage, all of this. And I was talking to my god brother, and he was talking about how um, relationships are so much harder than being single, just because for the simple fact that you're constantly um, shown things that you need to work on from the relationship with the other person, whereas when you single, you could just do what you want. You just like whatever, you know what I mean? So what he said was, when you get content, when you criticize, um when you can't take, when you're defensive, and I can't remember the fourth thing that he said, but I can definitely see those other things. Because first of all, why would you want to be with somebody who criticizes you all the time? That's like, first of all, either they're insecure and they putting that on you, or they don't like you. I mean, why would you want to be with somebody that you don't like? Then content. Now, people who are in long-term relationships always say this: you have to keep the relationship alive. If you get too content with the other person and you just like, whatever, you're just gonna be here. Not like, spice it up, do something else, do something different. And then when he said, when you're always defensive, like I was, saying in the beginning, you have to be willing to hear one thing that I do in my relationships, or anybody that I'm dealing with, anybody I'm talking to. I literally ask them, what are some things that I can work on? Because even if we don't work out, I need to know how I can be better for the next person, you know? And I do that to them too, but people are not willing to hear things that they can work on. They're just like, nah, I'm just like that. Somebody's just gonna have to accept me like that. Okay, let me know how that works. Let me know how that works. Okay? Let me keep going.
You're responsible for the things.
Oh, and I almost forgot. Accountability. So you are responsible for any way that you act. Like he said, you can feel how you want to feel, but that's your job to deal with. Whatever you done came with from your childhood, that's your job to deal with it. Okay, that's not on the other person. So you have to take accountability for the actions that you make. You can't be like, well, you made me feel like that, so that's why I did that.
That you do.
Hey, you preaching to the choir, my friend.
You know what I mean?
Listen, you're not the only one. Pretty much every married couple that I would speak to, that you research online, that you look at studies, will say the same thing, right? And so that's why it's crazy to me when people talk about like, all right, well, what am I going to bring to the marriage? But they never bring up responsibility.
No.
They never bring up duty,
respect,
or labor. It's a lot of labor.
Hard. We have twins. It's hard.
That's what I'm saying. Let's go preach.
It's not a party. It's not going to be that you're going to get your way all the time. It's not going to be tiptoeing through the tulips. Nah. It is. And here's the thing, too. A lot of times, as a married person, you have to remind yourself, oh, yeah, you know what? This is not about me. I have this responsibility to my wife, to my children, to the legacy of my family, to my community. You need to change the culture because talking about legacy, right, in what I'm going to leave to my children, what I'm going to leave to my grandchildren, beginning to plan and think about these things will help me understand that, oh, you know what? Buying those Jordans is probably not the wisest thing for me to do. It's better for me to take that money, if we're talking about finances, and go invest that into Nike. Let's just use that for example. And that money will be there for my grandchild versus me wearing these J's for, let's say I have them for 6 months. Like, what's 6 months when we're talking about legacy? So these are the kinds of things that, and when you're bonded with your partner about legacy and you're now starting to plan and plot about, hey, what are we going to do for our kids? What are we going to do for our grandkids? What are we going to do? That changes the dynamic of how you see your partner. It changes the dynamic about what the institution of marriage is. It helps you understand that your marriage is connected to more than just.
I gotta stop it right there. Oh my gosh, he said so much good stuff, man. Okay, first of all, let me get my thoughts together. Let me bring it back, because he just got me real excited, because what he said, first of all, he said it ain't easy. Now, we've heard that, we know that, but, again, he's been married 21 years, and people, fantasize like they do everything else about marriage. Oh, I want to be married. I want to be married, yes, but I am also enjoying my single time right now, because I know that when that time comes, it's not going to be easy. Like he said, I ain't going to get my way. It ain't going to be about me. It's going to be work. Okay, it's going to be work of sacrifice and, like figuring out what's best for the whole and not myself at the time or my immediate family, figuring out what's best for the entire scheme of things. You know what I mean? So I'm enjoying the exact moment that I am right now. And when that time comes, I'll be ready, But another thing that he said, again, marriage is not about what you want. Honestly, it's not about what you want. It's about building legacy, right? Now, of course, you want to build a legacy with somebody who you mesh with and who y'all have the same values and who y'all believe in the same thing and all of that, right? But beyond that, marriage is really about building. Not just for you, not just for y'all relationship, but for future generations. For future generations. I feel like we've lost the fact that that's basically what marriage is for. Because if you're not really, if you don't want to build a family, if you're not into building a whole legacy, I really don't see the point in you getting married, honestly, because that is one of the most important things I feel like that comes with marriage. So, and when you and your partner, like he said, when y'all when y'all have that same mindset of like, oh, this is more than just us, it's us and our community right now and our community in the future. Sheesh. We only a little bit into this video, man. I said I wasn't gonna play because this is about to be a long video, but he honestly, y'all want to stay tuned because he says some gems throughout the whole video. Even if you don't want to watch my reaction, okay, go and watch the video because listen, get it together, okay? Let me get back.
Your emotion, your feelings is connected to not just you, not just your kids, but your community.
That's right.
Right? It's a reflection of something much, much bigger. So anyway, I just wanted to share those things.
You have to understand what it is before you go into it, because I'm sure when you were taking those vows, you understood what it meant.
Well, not only that, my wife and I, we sat down and we went to counseling. Like, let's put all our cards on the table, and when we hit a rough patch and we feel like, hey, you know what? Our relationship isn't as dynamic as it should be. For example, after we had our twins, right? It's like we had to learn how to reconnect because for the first 3-4 years, we just twins, you know what I mean? Trying to stay above water. Yes, sir.
Wait. Are you saying that you had 3-4 years of turbulence and you stuck through it?
Of course. Right. But it was difficult, but we had to sit down and we had to say to one another, hey.
If you're wondering why I'm dancing so hard, it's because somebody came on earlier and they were like, yeah, well, if I was unhappier for multiple years, I would just leave him. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, well, you keep on doing that, and after that, you wonder why after all these years you're unhappy. Like this guy right there, I don't know what your name is, sir, but for the purpose of all this, I'm gonna call you Preach. So what Preach is saying right now, what the fuck else you want me to say? When the motherfucker Preach, he's talking the rough patches. He's talking about you're unhappy, you leave. Then you're always gonna end up leaving because people have this idea of this picture perfect image. A wedding can be perfect. A marriage? It's a whole other ball game. What's gonna make a decision if I stay is if the other one is willing to work. That's the thing. If you're willing to work, if you're willing to work, if you're not willing to work or the other person is not willing to work, then there's nothing much you could do about it. The person doesn't want to give the effort. If you're telling me I'm unhappy because the person doesn't want to put the effort, therefore, there's nothing that works because there's like he's talking about it. He's talking about contempt and he's talking about that bridge coming up. That's the other person not wanting to work. Then I can understand leaving. But if you're unhappy and you're talking about it and you don't stick through it, I'm not even talking about something that is toxic. I'm not talking about something that's toxic. By all means, boo-boo, if it's toxic, leave. That's some different shit. If it's affecting your mental and stuff like that, leave. But when you want to make that contract and the both person willing to work on it, that's a different thing. So it's like when I'm saying, you know that speed has never caused any death. When you're driving your car and anybody that's been driving.
All right, so again, the whole point of it's bigger than you. So the man said they had a rough patch for about 4 years. Think about that. Think about that. 4 years. You was unhappy. And like he said, most people would be like, oh, I'm unhappy for a year. I'm unhappy for such and such much. I'm out. I ain't got to deal with that. Okay, again, it ain't about you. As long as it's not toxic, like Preach said, as long as it's not toxic, and as long as the other person is willing to work, it's supposed to be a lifelong thing. Marriage is supposed to be a thing that you continue to work on. Now, something that you are always in is not always going to feel like rainbows and butterflies and sunshine. You're not always going to be in the up part. Sometimes you're going to be in the turbulence part. And you got to be able to take it through that. You know what I mean? You can't just quit when you just like, oh, I don't even like you right now. Because again, once you think about legacy and once you think about, it's not just about you, it's about what y'all are building together. Okay? Let's get back into it.
been driving, it's not the speed that's causing death. It's the sudden stop. You know what I mean? That's what caused death. It's a bit the same thing in a marriage. It's not you getting there and having things happening and wanting to work. It's when someone stops and doesn't want to work no more that is the death of the relationship. Really, the person is not willing. The person's always right. The person this, the person that. Yeah, he said what he said.
This is what you're noticing from the female perspective. This is what I'm noticing from the male perspective. And the conclusion is we're not connected as we would like to be. So now that we are in a place where we have the time and the resources in our relationship, hey, let's go to counseling. I recommend counseling, especially for Black people. We need counseling, but everyone. So we went to counseling and said, okay, these are the things that we need to work on. These are the things that we need to do. Can I just share one more thing that might be helpful to people?
Yeah, wrap this up.
I'll wrap it up. One more thing.
Yes.
I think it's very, very important as well to be self-aware when you're single and know what it is that you need in a woman or in a man, right? What are your weaknesses? What are your strengths? You're dating a person. What are they bringing to the table in terms of character? And that is huge. So that's how you pick the right person for you.
Right.
You know, and that takes a lot of self-awareness. That takes, putting sex to the side and really focusing on, okay, who is this person as an individual human being? Who is it? Because guess what? You should be able to marry this person. If they don't change a lick for the next 40 years, the person that you see right in front of you, if they decide, I'm not changing, can you marry this person? And looking at character is I guess what I'll say is that's one of the areas where we're failing. Is we think sex and we think good time. We think that's not what holds a marriage together. Looks is not what holds a marriage together. All these things are very superficial. So anyways, that's what I want to say and just share that.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you coming on.
All right, that's it for.
Where do I start? First of all, counseling. Now, he said they did premarital counseling and counseling while they're married. And like he said, especially us as Black people, we've been through a lot. So not only do we have the problems that everybody else has from just growing up and whatever trauma you experience from your parents, we have added trauma. No matter how you grew up, you have added trauma. So, and you don't know how things affect you until, you get into relationships and you're like, oh shit, I didn't even know, So that premarital counseling will like set you up before you even get there. And then you'll still get there, but the hit won't be as hard. You know what I mean? That's a wonderful thing. And then also, what else did he say? Character. Looking at somebody for the characteristics that they hold and not for these superficial things that do not matter, such as money, looks, like if you have a little butterflies in your stomach when you see them. I hate when people say that. Like, we're talking about long term. Marriage is supposed to be long term. Now, if you want something, a little fling, yeah, go with that person that give you that butterflies, or go with that person that, like you feel like you have the most fun around. They were probably good for a couple months. But if you talk about long term, this is going to be something that you're going to have to build. You're actually going to have to get to know somebody. You're actually going to have to get to know their character, how they handle situations, which is why we need to learn how to date again, because that's the only way you can learn if somebody is in those characteristics that you are looking for. And again, self-awareness. Self-awareness. You gotta know what it is that you need, what it is that you're looking for, what it is that will benefit you, what it is that will balance you out. You know, you gotta know the type of person that you are. So when you're looking for that other person, you would know exactly what it is that you're looking for. And that's what you do when you're single. You know, you figure out yourself, figure out what it is that you want, date around a little bit. Just be like, I don't like that, but you know, that's all right. You know what I mean? So I had to do a reaction on this video because he dropped some gems, some wonderful gems. I think it's about 2 minutes left. We're gonna see if he got a little bit more to say. Let's see.
All right, that's it for today's video. I mean, he said what he said. I'm not. The fuck you want me to say, bruv? He said some of the shit I said before. It's like it really is what it is. It's that's it for today's video. Share, like, subscribe. But yo, that's what it is. Whenever they're trying to find someone like, oh, we have the same interest. He likes Burna Boy. I like Burna Boy. That's not gonna raise a fucking family. That's not gonna do anything for you later on. When shit's gonna be hard, money's gonna be tight. You need someone that's gonna be able to manage. You're gonna be able to someone that's gonna have your back. That's gonna be that. After that, you got the looks, you got the sex. Yeah, that all that is nice, but you can't be fucking all the time. You're not gonna be always having intercourses. That's not what a marriage is. It's hard. It's rough. Nobody's perfect in that. It's everybody's got their flaws and everything and stuff. But it's really what you're willing to work. If you're willing to work, that's what it is. This guy was preaching right there. To me, that's another preach. I don't know your name. I don't know what it is, and I don't care. Frankly, dear, I don't give a damn. To me, you was preaching. Therefore, your name is Preach.
He was preaching. He preaching. All right. So we gonna end the video there. Yeah. So another good point that Preach brought up is, I don't care. You could be the most you feel like you're the most sexually active or whatever type of person, or sex not drives you, but you like sex, right? It does not matter, because don't get me wrong, sex is a very important part of a relationship. But on a totem pole of most important things, it just is not, it doesn't really matter. You know, like, it matters, but it doesn't. Because honestly, if there was something wrong, there are therapists, there are doctors, there are a whole bunch of stuff where you could help with whatever problem is going on. But like Priest said, you're not going to want to have sex all the time. You is not going to want to have sex all the time. So when you're not having sex, how you going to relate? If that's what it brings y'all together, how you going to relate? You can be like, oh, I don't really like you like that. I just like, you know what I mean? So it's like we have to reevaluate our values, you know, when it comes to, again, long term. Marriage is supposed to be long term. This shit's supposed to be a marathon. We ain't running no races. We ain't, you know, that's done. Hopefully you did your dating when you was younger. Hopefully you got your experience, did what you wanted to do, whatever. But once you start getting older, and if you want a family and marriage, you gotta think differently when it comes to relationships. You know what I mean? I think that's all I got to say. Like Preach said, the man was preaching. I ain't got much else to add. This man got 21 years of experience. I'm a newbie trying to learn so that I could be the best when that time comes for me. But like I said, I'm enjoying whatever time I'm in right now, because I know when that time comes, it's going to be nice, but also it's going to be difficult, okay? So I'm going to just enjoy my present moment, okay? But anyways, I hope y'all enjoyed it. Podcast coming out next week. So see y'all then. Peace.